Now we're going to do the practice of Antar Mouna, inner silence, or witnessing the thoughts. But we're going to do the Antar Mouna in a different way. We're going to do it in relation to Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, in the first chapter, Sutra 33 or verse 33, he says, Maitri Karuna Mudito Pekshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Apunya Vishayanam Bhavanatas Chitta Prasadanam, which means, in relation to happiness, misery, virtue, and vice, by cultivating the attitudes of friendliness, compassion, gladness, and indifference, respectively, the mind becomes purified and peaceful. And this is a wonderful way to take the traditional practice of Antar Mouna a few steps forward. So after working on removing the powerful negative recurring thoughts, we can use this shloka to think of the opposite thought. If we're having a negative thought of misery, unhappiness, hatred, jealousy, vice, then we can think of the opposite thought and replace it with that. So if we have a thought of hatred, then we can think of the opposite thought of love or indifference or compassion. If we have a negative thought like wanting to do something bad, a thought of vice, then we can develop a thought of virtue, of doing something good. And once we are able to recognize our negative recurring thoughts, they're so powerful, they cling to our consciousness so much, we can eradicate them even easier by replacing them with their corresponding positive thought. So after seeing the negative recurring thought, we can visualize that we're plucking them out of our consciousness, throwing them into a fire, into a oven, and then replacing in that vacuum in our consciousness, in that gap, we can replace the positive thought. This is what Patanjali means in his sutra, and this is how we do this practice of Antar Mouna, intermediate or advanced Antar Mouna, if you like. So now we'll proceed with the practice. Now we're going to do the practice of Antar Mouna, inner silence, or witnessing the thoughts. But we're going to do the Antar Mouna in a different way. We're going to do it in relation to Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, in the first chapter, Sutra 33 or verse 33, he says, Maitri Karuna Mudito Pekshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Apunya Vishayanam Bhavanatas Chitta Prasadanam, which means, in relation to happiness, misery, virtue, and vice, by cultivating the attitudes of friendliness, compassion, gladness, and indifference, respectively, the mind becomes purified and peaceful. And this is a wonderful way to take the traditional practice of Antar Mouna a few steps forward. So after working on removing the powerful negative recurring thoughts, we can use this shloka to think of the opposite thought. If we're having a negative thought of misery, unhappiness, hatred, jealousy, vice, then we can think of the opposite thought and replace it with that. So if we have a thought of hatred, then we can think of the opposite thought of love or indifference or compassion. If we have a negative thought like wanting to do something bad, a thought of vice, then we can develop a thought of virtue, of doing something good. And once we are able to recognize our negative recurring thoughts, they're so powerful, they cling to our consciousness so much, we can eradicate them even easier by replacing them with their corresponding positive thought. So after seeing the negative recurring thought, we can visualize that we're plucking them out of our consciousness, throwing them into a fire, into a oven, and then replacing in that vacuum in our consciousness, in that gap, we can replace the positive thought. This is what Patanjali means in his sutra, and this is how we do this practice of Antar Mouna, intermediate or advanced Antar Mouna, if you like. So now we'll proceed with the practice. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Getting ready now for the practice of Antar Mouna in a silence. The witnessing of thoughts, the witnessing of the whole of life. Sit comfortably in your meditation asana, on a chair, or preferably cross-legged on the floor. Adjust your legs so that they're quite comfortable, knees on the floor, supporting your body on a cushion if necessary. Tilt your pelvis forward so that your back straightens, and stretch your spine and head upwards as if a string is pulling you up from the top back of the head. Once your spine and head are upright, relax your shoulders, have your arms slightly bent and relaxed, hands in your favorite mudra on the knees or in the lap, and adjust your body so that it feels perfectly comfortable, balanced, and symmetrical. And once your body is comfortable and symmetrical, fix it into position. As it says in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Sukham Sthiram Asanam, a comfortable and steady posture. This meditation is an intermediate Antar Mouna, focusing on viewing the thoughts, whether they're negative or positive. And as it says in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, to change the negative thoughts into positive thoughts brings peace, silence, and cleanses the mind, purifies the mind. Once you've got your perfectly comfortable position, fix your body into position just like you lock your room or your suitcase or vehicle, safe and secure. And for a few moments, focus on the stillness and position of your body, kaya sthairyam, letting your body become absolutely still. The legs are still, the arms are still, the torso is still, the head is still. The whole body is still. As you make your body still, witness this process of stilling the body, as if you're watching someone else preparing for the meditation practice. Feel the stillness of the ground beneath the body and invite that stillness up into your body, as if the body and the ground are carved out of the one rock. Intensify that feeling of stillness and relax into it. And once your body is settled into stillness, take your awareness outside and listen to the sounds for a few moments, being a witness to this process of listening. Half your awareness is listening to the sounds, and the other half is watching the process of listening. The sounds are happening, entering into the ears, going through the nerves to the brain, being interpreted by the brain. But you are not the listener. You are the witness, the sakshi, observing this whole process. You are something deep within, behind the sounds, behind the act of listening. Keep listening and observing the process of listening. Letting the listening take you deep within. Then choose one sound and focus on that one sound, magnifying and highlighting that one sound to the exclusion of all the others. Learning to focus on the sound of your choice, excluding the other ones. Let that one sound fill your whole consciousness, as if you're merging with that sound. Now, cut that one sound off. Wipe it away from your consciousness and leave all the sounds and come back. Come back to this place and come back to your body and feel the shape and position of your body and be a witness, a sakshi, to yourself sitting in this space as if you're watching someone else sit for Antar Mouna. Then take your awareness into your body and feel the body from the inside, exploring all the different sensations from the feet up to the head, At the same time, being a witness to this process of sensing. The sensations are felt by the skin and transmitted along the nerves to the brain, and the brain is interpreting the sensations. But you are not the senses. You are something deep within, behind all the senses. You are the witness, the Sakshi. So as you feel the sensations, be a witness to this process of sensing. Check that you're with the Sakshi and that you haven't got distracted or carried away with the sensations or the thoughts. And if thoughts do bubble up while you do the practice, this is an ideal opportunity to observe the process of thinking. Let the thoughts come up and be a witness to the thoughts as well. But now, focus on one sensation. Choose one sensation and magnify that sensation. Let it fill your whole consciousness. To the exclusion of all other sensations. If other sensations come into your mind, push them aside and say, "Not now," and focus only on that one sensation. It could be the movement of the breath, or the pulsing of the heart, or any sensation. Let that one sensation fill your consciousness and let yourself merge into it. And when that one sensation is fully developed, cut it off, push it away, wipe it clear from your consciousness. And then take your awareness to all the other sensations, or if thoughts have come up, start watching the spontaneous flow of thoughts. Just let the thoughts flow in and out of your mind and be a witness, a Sakshi, to this process of thinking, remembering that you are not the thinker. You are something deep within, behind all the thoughts. You are the experiencer of everything, the witness, the Sakshi. So just watch the flow of thoughts flowing in and out of your consciousness like the breeze flowing through the leaves of a tree. Check that you're not carried away by a train of thoughts, and be vigilant to be with the perspective of the witness, the Sakshi. And as the thoughts bubble up, you may find that one particular thought keeps coming up, or perhaps it's a thought that comes up during your day, during your life. A recurring thought, a powerful thought, perhaps a negative thought. Something that happened to you recently that keeps repeating itself in your mind. Something that you feel you can't get rid of. Well, now, no need to get rid of it. Now embrace it. Pull that thought up from your deep subconscious. Pull it up and let it manifest and examine it and think it fully. Let yourself get into it fully. Letting yourself think not only that thought, but all the related thoughts. At the same time, being a witness to this process. Keep letting yourself think that one thought until it's manifested over and over with all its related thoughts. And then cut it off. Wipe it away from your consciousness and throw it out. And as Patanjali says, in order to find peace and purification, now think of the opposite of that thought. If you're thinking of thought of hatred, think a thought of love towards that same person. Perhaps select one little thing about that person that you hate. Select one little thing you like about them or that is likable about them. And focus on that one positive aspect and expand that positive aspect. Increase it and place that positive aspect into the gap where you have taken out the negative thought, the hateful thought. It's as if you're removing that negative thought, plucking it out of your consciousness, wiping it away, and throwing it into a fire. And in its place, put a positive thought. Then go back to the spontaneous thoughts for a few moments, letting all the thoughts surge through your consciousness. If that same negative thought keeps coming back, keep pulling it out, keep plucking it out of your consciousness and throwing it into an imaginary fire and taking a positive thought and putting it in its place. And if there's another thought, negative thought, powerful recurring thought that you want to work on, let that thought come up and focus on that thought. Let it expand and fill your whole consciousness and see all the related thoughts coming up. Allow yourself to think it, but at the same time, be a witness, a sakshi, observing this whole process. And once you've really had a look at that negative thought, cut it off, wipe it away, pluck it out of your consciousness and throw it into an imaginary fire. And then think of its opposite. Perhaps your thought was of some pain or misery or self-pity. Now think the opposite, a thought of joy or virtue or goodness. And think of that one positive thought. Focus on it, bring it up, let it expand, let it blossom fully. And then take that positive thought and mentally put it in its place, filling the space or the gap of that negative thought. If the negative thought keeps coming back, keep plucking it out of your consciousness, throwing it into an imaginary fire, and taking its opposite and putting it in its place. In this way, gradually changing the makeup of your consciousness, gradually getting rid of misery, vice, and hatred, and replacing it with joy, virtue, and friendliness. Keep focusing on that one negative, powerful, recurring thought, letting it develop fully, and then cutting it off, throwing it out, burning it, putting it into a ritual fire, and replacing it with its opposite thought, its positive thought. And when you fully develop the negative thought and replace it with the positive thought, then go back to the spontaneous flow of thoughts. And once again, be a sakshi to yourself, sitting in this meditation of Antar Mouna, letting the thoughts flow through your consciousness, knowing that you are not the thoughts, you are not the thinker, you are something deep within and behind. You are the witness, the sakshi. Once more, observe the thoughts flowing through your consciousness in this way. When you feel that you've worked on changing your negative thoughts into positive thoughts, wipe clear your consciousness. And go to the deepest part of yourself. Search, where is your deepest part? Find, where is your deepest part? And go to the deepest part of your being, the part that is behind the thoughts, behind the emotions and desires, behind everything in your mind, the deepest part of silence, emptiness, and peace. Go to that part of your being and rest there for a moment, experiencing it fully. Let the peace and energy of this deep part of yourself expand and fill your whole consciousness, filling you with peace and energy. Then mentally give thanks. Give thanks to the higher consciousness within you for all the good things in life, for this present opportunity. And then send your love, your good wishes, and your blessings to all the people that you know, the people who help you, the people you love. And then gently, gently come back. Come back, bringing back with you your experiences of the inner world, bringing back with you your changes and transformation from negative and suffering to positive and joy. Come back to the body and feel the shape and position of your physical body, noticing if there's any pain or discomfort so that you can sit more comfortably next time. Be a witness to the process of coming back and take your awareness to the sounds outside and reorientating to the world of sounds and activities, bringing back with you the effects of the practice. Take a few deep breaths in and out to break the stillness of the body, and we'll finish off by chanting Om 3 times together. And as we chant Om, let your love and thanks spread to the whole universe, just like a flower spreading perfume. Take a deep breath in now. Om. Om.